All right, so I'm back. I'm on River Road, okay? And along the river, you see the James River here. Okay, yonder to the left. But I wanted to take you down this little stretch from the part that I was at last time, where the beach was. Let me adjust this camera and get this little wire thing out of the way. I got a new cell phone holder here. Here, let me tilt it upwards. Okay, so those were the high rises earlier. And there to the left and the right are a lot of very old facilities, okay, that they've built a lot of ships and stuff. Well, okay, I'll get to that in a minute, but when the shipyard was founded here in the latter 1800s, it was after the Civil War, about 1870, by a man named Huntington. I think it's Homer Huntington. I do know his last name, and actually they've named a few landmarks after this man. A lot of the workers from the shipyard stayed in this area here. They're very, very old apartment complexes, church to the right here, and some other stuff, businesses, and they have some more further down, what they call on the north end of Newport News, and we'll visit that here in a second. But I want to go over now and do a little bit of footage on the shipyard, okay? I lived over here on the north end for about 3 years myself. I had a little place over here, little rooming house. And you see, and I had worked at the shipyard, pulling cables, a contract, and delivered pizzas back then. I'm sorry, I was a reservist. I gotta fix this camera here. It popped off. Give me just a second here. I hope you guys enjoy this series here. I'm going to do a few and try to get as many landmarks as I can between now and Friday. I'll be leaving Friday, and it's got me wanting to miss home. And man, I'll tell you, so I got to come back out here again and do some footage. But off to the right is the Newport News Shipyard here. Okay. And here's where they've built the ships for about the last 150 years. They built several carriers here. Man, they got so many carriers. I think the last one they built was like, I believe, Dwight Eisenhower. I'm not sure. Or the Nimitz. I know when I was here that they built, I think it's Stennis, I believe. That was one of the newer ones for the Navy base. So this is where they build the battleships and carriers at there, ladies and gentlemen, okay? All right, so this is, it's like a port right here. It's like the North Port. And I remember working over here at this port for like a couple of years. Again, I was an electrician. We pulled cable, and I was also at was a what they call watertight. I was in watertight, and I would basically prep openings to put doors in and stuff as a contractor. I remember those days I made like $5.50 an hour, working 40 hours a week, and then at night I deliver pizzas. I work was like 16 hours a day. Yeah, I lived right across the street. I used to run over here right to this terminal and all that. Yeah, and then go deliver pizzas at Pizza Hut uptown, up there by the Army base. Yeah, those were the days. This shipyard is gonna stretch out about 2 miles, and this place is open 24/7. And they're still building ships here. If they're not building them, they're going to bring these carriers back to repair, probably a lot of your older ones. Okay? I was thinking too, one of the latest ones they built was the USS Nixon, and that is a carrier. And I believe they built that probably over the teens, the 2010s. They take about 2 to 2.5 years to build those carriers, and they're very, very sophisticated. I'm pretty sure there's going to be one more coming, 1 or 2 more coming now that we're in the 20s. Okay, so look out. I haven't seen some of these warehouses. I was here like 25 years ago, back in 96. I believe I worked for 95 and 90, let me see here, till about 90, late part of 96. Yeah, so I was here for like a year and a half, actually. Okay, no need for me to get out, okay? So yeah, many employees here, they'll just arrive here. They have a checkpoint where you come inside, and you'll walk to where where I showed you, where that it's like a big pulley, like a hangover is. And what that pulley does, here, let me show you here in a second. I wasn't gonna get out, but now I think I'm gonna get out here, so I want to show you guys real fast. All right, so that pulley there, underneath is a dock, and they'll have that ship in that dock, right? They don't have no ship in there right now, but they'll bring a hull in that dock. They'll prepare that hull somewhere else, probably overseas, and they'll bring it here. Okay, or maybe like in DC or in another ship building, but they'll bring it here and they'll put the insides on it, all right, and get it beautificated to where it needs to be. And right above, it does have a pulley that goes left and right, and it lets up and down, so you can put pieces of whatever they need on or around that ship. And they'll have electricians there. They'll have welders inside there. What else? Ship fitters. They'll have pipe fitters in there. So it's like putting together a big building, except it just floats on water. All right, mold loft. So they will make like actually parts of the mold. That's the job I was trying to get when I was going to go to the apprentice school. But they didn't give me that job. I was going to go here and go play basketball out of high school. And so it's several jobs that they do. There's painters. I think there's cutters here, okay? People that cut stuff. Insulators, all right? Excuse me. So this is just what they do here. They get paid, they don't get paid as good as they do now. I'm sorry, they don't get paid now as good as they done back then. We knew old timers at my church that, let's just say after the war, you could come out, Second World War, you could come right out of the army or whatever at that time, the 40s, 50s, and get a good job. You get like $40 an hour. Maybe if you was a supervisor or you were a head manager, you get between $60 and $70 an hour. Newport News was a very prosperous city back in the day. Not anymore, but you could make that kind of money even as a ship fitter, $40 an hour, and you could afford to keep your wife and you get children and all that in one salary. Okay, a couple of maybe cars and stuff like that, and be able to put your children through school. It was very, very industrial. But what happened in the early 90s was they did a lot of cutbacks during the Bush administration. This is Bush Senior. And a lot of the work became contracted. So that $40 an hour turned into maybe $30 or $25 an hour, because that extra $10 or $15 or whatever, that was paid to the contractor. So it made the work, where the work dynamics had changed. I'll put it like that. Okay. Now they've got to where they got robots to do the work now. Okay, so let's just move on to a different part of the shipyard. Okay. All right, so I just turned off. That was Warwick, I believe. Let me see here. Let me get out of this guy's way here. I'm sorry. That was Huntington Avenue. Okay, I mentioned Huntington earlier. That was named out of the guy that founded the shipyard back in the latter 1800s. And so there's another pulley. Like this is mid shipyard right here. And you know what? I think I want to do another segment here of Newport News here because I don't want to get too long-winded. But here's a checkpoint right here in mid shipyard. Okay. Man, it's been so long since I've been down here. Like I say, in the middle 90s when I got fired. Okay, so this is Washington Avenue. All right, little tour, and there's still the shipyard off to the right. And I'm just going to tilt it just a little bit. Oh, man. I'm sorry, guys. Let me put this back on here. All right. I repositioned that, and I'm going to tilt that just a little bit to the right. I'm over here looking. There used to be a 7-Eleven right here. It's not there anymore. They changed it to Rudder and Mills Law and Attorney. So off to the left is like a bunch of administrative buildings with the shipyard and all that. Let me see if I could rotate this upwards a little. Man, they had the days where the guys would get off and they'll have stuff to do like bars and all kinds of stuff. Man. So off to the right is a very older part of the shipyard. Let me just tilt it just a little bit more. Okay, here. All right. All right, so that's another checkpoint. And that's pretty much like the south part of the shipyard right there. Let's see, Family Health Center. Yeah, right over here in this area, like 44th and all that. Probably between 44th and 35th. Well, let me get back to that, okay? But see, in this area here, this is a very old part of the shipyard, okay? All those old buildings right there, those buildings been around since like the First, Second World War, okay? These facilities here. This is a very, very old part of that. And that's when work was really, really heavy at the time in support of the Second World War. In fact, 2 million people, American soldiers, were there at once at that war, okay? Yeah, the workforce was like 10 million people in relations to the Second World War. And many of them probably from the shipyard, if they weren't, the other probably 7-8 million people, if you wasn't in the Army, you was doing any type of military or type of government support in relation to that. Whether you did logistics or you did any type of military, I'm trying to think, any combat or support, like, working in the shipyard, okay? Again, very, very old buildings here, okay? And in fact, those buildings, they would do molding or put together assemble small parts or whatever to be brought out into the ships, okay? Off to the left here, again, some other admin buildings. Yeah. Now, I was saying between 44th and probably like 35th, they had different restaurants and stuff like that. I think clubs, bars, all kinds of stuff. They did at one time. They had hookers walking up and down the street here, but I think they cleaned all that stuff up. Let me see here. Dynasty Restaurant and Lounge. See, a lot of this stuff now is closed down here. I can remember when I worked here, I got off and would go and watch the game when probably Chicago Bulls were prevalent. Okay? So that's it on that. I'm going to do a second segment here on downtown, which is right above ahead of me, and it's also a replica of the French Victory Tower. And I'm just going to do it with a little bit of footage, not much, of the rest of the shipyard here. So stay tuned for the second part, okay? And let me get this segment together right now. All right, so just a little quick segment here. Here's the Marine Terminal here, where they load supplies and unload. It's probably a lot of Marine and Army stuff off these ships here. And maritime mariners make good money, I'll tell you. So you guys are getting out of the Army and Navy if you done any work relating to. Get your maritime license or whatever, because they pay like $30, $40 an hour. All that's the what is it? The Merchant Marine Terminal here. Okay. The work isn't like it was, but hey, the work is still here. They still have something for you to do. Okay. So there's some of the Marine Terminal there. My friend, my childhood friend, he had his father worked over here for a long time before he passed away. And yeah, they spend a lot of, but they work a lot of hours, so 70, 80, 90 hours, whatever. But they make really, really good money. So over yonder, there's a lot of connexes and rail cars and stuff like that. And there's a freeway over there, 664, which bypasses Norfolk to go to Suffolk. That was built in like the early 90s. They have a tunnel that go through there. And I'm going to be doing a segment of the bridge tunnels. Okay. In fact, they call that the Monitor Merrimack Tunnel. So we'll call this a video. I'm going to get on the interstate and head on back. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe. Leave your comments and shares. Check out the other videos. And thanks for watching.